Stop. No. Just gonna get a little bit of smoke on these apples. A little bit of heat, a little bit. Yeah, I don't really want them to cook. Just I thought they might be quite nice with some smoke. To be fair, I don't actually really know. I've just had some apples, thought I'd put them on the fire. Hope for the best. These are trout out of the lake, just up the road. These are the ones that didn't fill it particularly nicely, so hence why they look a bit raggy there. But gonna smoke them, hot smoke them. Got a little bit of a lemony oil base that I'm putting on it. And then I'm gonna make it into something for a canapé. Haven't actually decided what yet, but it'll be some kind of canapé from this tonight, so.
It's like Excalibur, one of those movies with like the Mists of Avalon and that, and then there's Lucy doing a Monty Python sketch.
I must walk between the barn and the kitchen 100 times, 150 times. I do crazy amounts of steps, and it's just between the barn and the kitchen. I just like,
Yeah. Fully decided on that yet. And then Kat's made some amazing sourdoughs. So they'll all be good. Yeah, so they'll be that'll already be on the table. And then I've made.
all right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is long table feast night tonight. So you look in the camera and not up there.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Woo!
It's long table feast night tonight. Long table feasts happen once a month. We pull together the best of the best of the best.
Local ingredients.
Like really seasonal things from the garden, things from our friends and neighbors. We've been out foraging this month.
We grow as many things as possible, so all of the greens are out of from Gotter, out of our polytunnel. The trout is from the Lake of Menteith, which if you look closely you absolutely will not see it. It's over there somewhere, like 7 fields across.
Sorry, photobombing.
I think Kevin wants to be in it.
Yeah,
I'm coming in. Brought the wrong crockery.
Useless, fucking useless. You can't get the staff these days.
Cannot get the stuff.
We're all super buzzing for the menu tonight.
It's really good.
Yeah, we're feeling alarmingly ready and prepared.
I think we've been pretty much ready to go.
The fact we have time to do this right now says that I've probably forgotten something major, but we're all in. Yeah,
No, I
it's
feel
good
like
vibes tonight. It's
yeah,
gonna be a great
the sun's
night.
shining. Really looking forward to it. We have 38 people coming tonight, which is a nice full and busy barn.
So we've got local trout on the menu. We've got rabbit. We've got chicken in the woods. We've got pork. We've got some pork crackling that I've made. Some pork like somewhere between a pork scratching and a crackling. With some
Crackling scratching.
Crackling scratching. It's quite. It sounds like saying snatch.
Yeah, that'll be good. We're really looking forward to it. That'll be fun.
Really good.
It was really good.
Mine's quite so different, but smash on the pot.
Very good. Lots of really positive feedback. Food was amazing.
Well,
yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, I love that favourite. So some people's favourite is literally the salad, and I don't know, when you make so many dishes, like I sometimes not worry, but like I try and make sure none of them are just a filler. If you know what I mean, like just because we'll do another dish for the sake of it, like especially on this feast, I found like every single dish had so much like attention and care to it, and even if it was quite a simple dish, like everything was like I don't know, like perfect and fine tuned on that.
I think the presentation it was like different architecture, like everything had like a different style to how it sat on the plate.
Yeah, you did a really good job of like bringing the color and the texture.
I loved like that people asked so many questions about what was in the dishes. That's always so. There was a whole thing about the flowers, and I was like, oh no, that's that is wild chamomile. And they're like, no, we had wild chamomile in that dish. And I was like, oh, and then I realised it was the
coriander
that bolted, and then like, oh, and then like it was so sweet, and then
So I'd like, for me as well, like that's like you can get like flowers or petals and things on things, and quite often it can just look a bit naff, like, oh, we'll throw some flowers on it and it's fancy. But for me today, like I had 3 people say to me today, oh, those white flowers, what were they? And I was like, oh, that's the coriander that bolted. And I was like, oh, people actually like notice, like, we obviously like graft and put a lot of effort into like the plating and putting bits of this and bits of that,
behind the scenes,
exactly right. Yeah, like for people to actually notice that, like take note of that flavour, and like obviously like for that dish we kept it quite simple. There was just a bit of it on the trout dish, so people actually were tasting that, and like we got so excited about that in the polytunnel like 2 days ago, and it wasn't just that, oh, we'll put flowers on it to make it look fancy. It was like, no, that's going to go so well with this. And then for people to actually like recognise that without us saying it, and be like, wow, what was that? And that feels like, yes, like we do like a happy dance for that.
Well, I also really love that some of the customers were like sharing their enthusiasm for things like foraging, and like wanting to tell us about what they do, and and recognizing value what we're doing. So it tells me that there's a kind of customer that is really into trying to understand how they can use their food in the way that we're trying to, and that we're finding the right people coming, curious people who just want to come experience a farm, but also serious foragers and growers, and make
like I find at the end, like when I go and talk, to make sure I try and like talk to everybody, to one, just to say like thanks for coming, 2, to like put a face to like the behind the scenes kind of stuff, but also I always say to them like, what was your standout dish? And like I can gauge quite quickly, like sometimes people are just like, oh yeah, that was amazing, like love that, kind of thanks, bye kind of thing, which is absolutely fine. They're coming to dinner, they're not coming to make pals with muggins over here. But like some of them are like, tell me about it, how did you create that? And I'm like, oh right, okay, cool. I get to sit down and like actually be like, right, then there was this layer to it, then there was this, and then there was this, and they're just like, wow, what was that again, kind of thing. Oh, I'll write that down. And I don't know, like I just get really excited by that.
No, it's so nice because it's people really understanding what you're about, and also here for the right things.
Yeah.
And I mean, but then there's so many reasons that people come here. So when like you get a third of your customers like having detailed conversations with you about the ingredients and what's been in, and how did you prepare that? That must be really really good.
Do you know one thing I really like tonight as well? Like 2 different people came to me and said to me, the people we were sat with were amazing. Like obviously part of this is like about like community. It's not just, the community isn't just from the growing side of things and the sourcing of the ingredients. They were like, oh my gosh, those people were amazing, and those people are like, to see these people who don't know each other, some of them aren't local, like quite a few people through from Edinburgh today, which also like just I find really humbling that people have travelled all the way just to come to this, and then they're like, oh, we've met these people and we want to stay in touch, and I'm like, wow, like
that's like, definitely my favorite bit is like when you walk down the table and like people are seated, they come as a couple and they're sitting next to another couple and they're just chatting the whole night, sharing food or just sharing, like that's what like the long table feast for me is about, is that sort of community.
This couple came from their wedding anniversary, and then their friends had like got tickets along too.
And then those friends
were friends
with another group. They all went to high school together and hadn't seen each other in ages. So it's really cute.
It's lovely.
When like tonight, like obviously like we're doing quite a lot down in the fire kitchen during the feast. Like so obviously I was back and forth through the barn quite a bit, but like when you come through the barn and there's that like little buzz, everyone's like tucking in and chatting and the music's playing, and you just like obviously because you're not a fly on the wall, but just kind of walking through it and like having a quick look just to make sure everyone's enjoying it. Like, oh, is anything being left? Or
I think it was really great that you were, because we don't always get to, but when you do get to cook outside and people can see the plates, and I loved like all the food coming from one kitchen. The plating
overall was amazing. I hate slates. I hate them.
Yeah, I hate them.
But they look so beautiful.
And they were free off someone's roof.
We'll wash them first.
But yeah, that worked really well. They're heavy and cumbersome and pain in the arse to fucking use, but it worked so nicely with that trout, didn't it?
And with the fennel, it was so
I'm this is like the proudest I think I've felt after a feast. Like we've done, don't get me wrong, we've done some amazing feasts over the last year.
I feel like they're just each one. There's like progression.
Yeah,
I definitely feel like the progression.
Yeah,
I can see us all working together. I think like having Ailey in the garden, you know, like
that makes
bringing that,
such a difference.
Yeah, like that direct link, being able to go out and forage the day before.
Yeah,
like all of that.
It's funny. Someone said to me, "Oh, what's on the menu for next month?" I was like,
"Oh yeah."
I'm going to be honest. Like, I refuse to make them until 3 days before. One, because of my admin is terrible. Two, like when we were in the garden, it's probably 3 days ago. That's where the menu is created.
Yeah.
What is ready? What has Ailey grown?
Yeah.
What is, we'll go through. She tells us what's ready, and like that's when I start to get excited by it. Like I'm not going to start planning a menu for next month.
No, you know roughly what your meat's going to be.
That's what I'm about. Yeah.
It's your meat and what veg? Lucy, meat and what veg?
Steady.
Did you know that there were people who were like fighting over the cabbage?
Really?
Yeah. There was like
we had
to get extra cabbage because the meat eaters wanted cabbage as well. So.
Yeah, but a lot of people asked, and I was like goat, and I was like, oh,
what's on next menu?
I was like the vegetarians. I was talking to.
You were talking to Tim and
Mars.
Oh, you're talking about.
To be fair, when I took those canapes out, I forgot that they were the veg. I gave them my whole the big licks of everything that I put on these canapes, the trout from the lake. It's a couple of fields over that way. I smoked it this afternoon, and they were like, I'm really sorry, not for us. We're the veggies. I was like, oh, don't worry, I'll get you something else.
They were okay chatting about it though.
Oh yeah, they were really engaging. It was so nice to see those back because I remember the first feast they came to last year, wasn't it? And I remember when they were leaving, I remember him being like, that was the best meal I've ever had, and that, there's certain comments, there's certain feedbacks that really stick with you, because I don't think he'd been to anything before. I mean, I don't know it other than I saw him at that feast, and obviously seeing them tonight, and they were like, oh, how are you? How's the knee? How's the wedding planning coming along? And I'm like, oh, that's really so nice that you remember that.
I know, and they came up to me, the first thing they said to me was, and I don't know if you guys realize this, they were like, oh, is this your 1 year anniversary celebration?
No
when we opened? Because it is. It's like, it's like
a 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, so it's just like a couple weeks. While you're, this is what?
I don't know if anyone knows. 2 weeks.
Let's have a new business and a wedding
and everything else.
And then what else can you squeeze in cabbage? People were upset cabbage wasn't here.
I know, I had 3 people ask me about cabbage as well tonight.
I know. Well, now you're like properly in the sort of garter. Everyone knows everything that's going on with you. When people you meet people in the street and you're like, you're like, how are you? And then and then you wait for them to ask you, and then you realise they actually know everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that on the blog, I saw that on the Instagram. Anyway,
preparing us for fame.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
Oh God.
Alright, let's go home.
Yeah, let's go home.
I mean, I live here, but
alright, I'll go home. Okay. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
Goodbye.
Good night.